Hi, this is Celeste from the Celestial Report, and I got frogs because it's spring and it's allergy season, and I know lots of you are having allergies too. So I am the 1880 pioneer woman fighting the 21st century battle, and today we are going to talk about healing naturally. And it's one of my passions, and I've been doing it for many years. As a matter of fact, this document was created back in the day when I had a radio podcast. So let's go to it and see if what's how you can heal naturally. I just want to say ahead of the game that this is for educational purposes and artistic entertainment only, and it's not for medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or anything like that. Always see a certified professional healthcare professional for all of your healthcare needs. Okay, we got that out of the way. So, why should you learn the art of healing? So, healing basically is in all of the ancient languages and represents shining beauty of balance and harmony. And too often these days, we are not balanced and we are not grounded, hence stress and all the medical afflictions that we have these days. So healing. I looked at the Hebrew language, which is an ancient script, and it is comprised. The word for healing comes to us from the letters that comprise light and the mouth. If one wishes to be healed, he should fill his mouth with godly light, the word of God. So purity, clarity, cleanliness annul the forces of disease, and disease and illnesses are merely forces that can be changed. So you do not have to put up with affliction. And your primary and number one source should always be God. In the Hebrew, the word from for heal has the same letters as harp and to make music. We are exposed to sickness and accidents so that we understand the world and the true nature and not be hidden from us, lest we be lured into a false sense of security and be dominated by our baser instincts and become as unintelligent and as senseless beasts. We see an example of this in the scripture when Nebuchadnezzar was kind of very willful, and the Lord actually turned him into a beast for a season. We also see in Psalms 32:9 talks of this when it says, "Don't be like a horse or a mule without understanding. Remember that your body is a house surrounded by light, the result of which is the result of health, and people can see it in your eyes, the windows of the soul." And that's one of my favorite belief systems. So you want to empower yourself with real healing, true healing, and you do not need Western medicine to be healthy. You can learn skills that can save your life, and we're going to discuss some of those in an uh, broad strokes today, and different strokes for different folks. You may find that one is very interesting to you and you would utilize it, and another one you might not. And I will be sharing that with you, my preferences, just to give you an idea that it's okay to be different. For instance, I will give you an example. My sister loves garlic. Every time she gets sick, she takes and consumes garlic. Well, I could eat a whole bulb of garlic and it will not do a thing for me. So, in her unique body, garlic works, but in my body, it does not. But I do use garlic for flavoring. I just don't use it for healing. So you will bless yourself with freedom from big pharma, from high prices, physician intrusion and mandates, and government intrusion and mandates. You can tailor your healing, customized just for you, and healing remedies that endure societal collapse, and enjoy remedies that work and do not harm. And physicians will soon be in short supply. So let's go browse some healing. So here are some of the options. And the good news is that you have many choices, as I alluded to. So you can choose folk remedies, and here are some of my lotion bars, and they are made with beeswax and lots of good oils like jojoba oil and essential oils. You can choose herbal remedies, and that can come in the form of flowers, leaves, roots, and sometimes you can use the whole plant, like the stems and all. There's essential oils, which are concentrated. What are essential oils? Actually, the defense mechanism of the plant. So when times are hard, like drought or stress, the essential oils get more concentrated. And in times where there's lots of water and the plants are not stressed, the essential oils are not as concentrated. Let's say there's homeopathic remedies. I love homeopathic remedies. They last a whole lifetime. It does not have a shelf life. These remedies will outlive you, I can assure you. There are floral essences, and for me, there is nothing more delightful than doing floral essences as part of my healing. And I love to use the floral in my cooking. For instance, I will use rose water when I cook my rice, and it just gives this um, aroma of health to me. Well, it imparts it. There's Chinese medicine, and I really value Chinese medicine, but I don't use it a lot for the mere fact that in a supply chain situation, I don't want to get used to or dependent on a medicine, even though it's probably herbal, that has to come to me all the way from China. I would rather focus on what can I get locally. So not only do I choose my foods locally, I choose what type of medical modality I do. And here's this word. I'm not going to say it. It's the Ayurvedic or Gaia remedy. That's remedies from India. Once again, it's the same. I have the same thoughts with the Ayurvedic as I do with the Chinese. It's not local, it is based primarily in India. Not that I have anything against it. It's just I don't want I don't want to spend my learning curve on something that I may or may not be able to get in hard times. And then there's foods and spices. So now we're going to go take these one by one. So essential oils are extracted from the aromatic essences of plants, trees, fruits, flowers, herbs, or spices. It can be a single essential oil, and it can be made up of a complex chemical component. Essential oils are described by constituents, actions, and properties. Essential oils have the power as medicine and also aromatherapy, which means you breathe it in. Essential oils have a frequency that impacts your body positively, and essential oils can work individually or as a blend. Like I have a healing blend with 5 of the different blue essential oils, which are all anti-inflammatory. You need to store your essential oils in amber bottles in a cool, dark location, and then eventually, um, they do have a shelf life. They're not as long as homeopathic, but if you store them properly, I mean, I've still got essential oils from 1990, but I have stored them properly. Their essential oils can work on you pharmacologically, kind of like medicine. They can work on your physiology, impacting specific conditions. Let's say I want to get rid of that inflammation from my tennis elbow. I can rub a little bit of those blue essential oils I was telling you about and reduce my inflammation. It can do psychologically, especially aromatherapy. If you need a little bit of adrenaline and pep, you can do some peppermint. And if you want to slow down in the evening, you could do something calming like chamomile. It, generally, essential oils have few to no side effects, and they last about 2 hours, and they can work in as quickly as 15 seconds. So if you want immediate relief, essential oils are one of my absolute favorites. Uh, some oils are adaptogens and will do whatever your body needs. So you apply it topically to your skin, and let's say you need some pep or you need to get rid of that brain fog or whatever it is. Um, Basically, your body, it will go to wherever the body needs it. Essential oils permeate through your skin, which is the largest organ in your body. So always check if essential oil can be used during pregnancy, and if you have a specific health condition such as epilepsy or allergies, you do want to check with your physician on that. Most essential oils do have a statement on them that says do not consume or put on your skin while you are pregnant. So that's pretty common. Do not use them near your eyes. I know that my favorite thing for those sleepless nights is to put a drop of lavender essential oil on my temples. But if I'm not careful, it can leach into my eyes, and then I got a little bit of stingy eyes. You want to keep them away from children, and you want only the pure oils can be taken internally, and those will be labeled on the bottle that you can take them internally. I know that I don't know the other company. I know doTERRA has some, and the other company, it's been a long time since I've used them, but I have some of theirs. Anyway, um, just check on the bottle, because even though it comes from a particular company, like your orange maybe, but others not so much. Um, Keep away from children unless you supervise, and if your condition does not improve or it worsens, please see a qualified physician. Okay, now we're going to go into herbal medicine. So, what is herbalism? This is another one of my favorites, is using the use of plants for medicinal purposes. Herbalism is one of the oldest forms of medicine. It doesn't matter what culture you come from, um, they used herbs and spices all the way back. Herbalism dates back thousands of years, and pharmaceutical companies try to copy Mother Nature, often by using synthetic herbs. So, what are the tenets of herbalism? The whole plant is better than the isolated extracts. You can treat a person holistically. That means I'm not just uh, treating this sprained finger, I'm treating the whole person. Strengthening the body to heal itself, practice minimum effective treatment and minimum treatment. So that means you just don't throw everything at your body, like with the kitchen sink. You just want to use as little as possible to effectuate that healing. And herbalism must be practiced responsibly and with wise knowledge. You really need to get some books that talk about it. and dig in if you're going to use it. So why use herbs? So one, they're for the most part safe. You do want to check and see if you do have any conditions or if you're pregnant, whether it's safe or not. They're inexpensive. Oftentimes they are free. You can wildcraft them, and you can find them. Like the dandelion is actually a medicinal herb. They are more natural, they have less side effects. They're sustainable. Believe me, those dandelions keep coming back. And herbs are the perfect home care for everyday first aid, ailments, chronic conditions, and strengthening the body and preventative care as well. Let's see. I'm going to have to get this a little bit smaller here. Okay. So 100 years ago, when people had an ailment, they wildcrafted or went to their gardens. In the British, they had their cottage gardens, and we kind of carried the tradition in America too. So, the beauty of herbalism is that you can practice the art of caring through collecting, processing, and dispensing herbs. You can make hand and foot baths, which is very biblical. You can do skin washes and rubs. You can do inhalations, put them in water and then boil them and let them steam up and breathe it in. You can do massages. These are usually where you put your herbs and spices in a tincture form with some oils. You can do eye baths. There's compresses and poultices. You might be familiar with two. One is the mustard poultice, and two is the comfrey poultice. And I actually had a goat that had been attacked by a black bear. She had 250 bites and scratches on her, but she lived. But by the time I got to her, so bears attack and they try and break the neck of their prey. So he had tried to break her neck. And so when I got to her, her neck was S shaped. And so I ran, and he also had punctured her jugular vein. So it was, her blood was just coming out like a faucet. So went down and I grabbed my two things. I grabbed well, three things: my comfrey and oil and some comfrey leaves on the way up, my cayenne, and they call it vet wrap, which is like an ace bandage. And the cayenne stopped even a major vein bleed, which was amazing. And then the comfrey, basically within 48 hours, her neck was straight like it was supposed to be. So that's just a example. Fomentations, there's tinctures and decoctations, there's infusions and ointments and pills and powders. And yes, you can do those at home. What you would usually do is get some gel caps, and powders, you just use your dehydrator. And then I have a little separate coffee grinder for my herbs and spices so that I don't mix my coffee with my natural healing things. So you want to invest in a library of herbal guides and medicines. I like the PDR, that's Physician's Desk Reference of Herbal Medicine. That is one of my favorites. It will give you clinical studies, what the active constituents are, when you should take it, the dosage, when you should avoid it, contraindications. Um, it'll give about 5 different case studies on it. The only disadvantage to it is that it does not have pictures. And I like color pictures, especially if you're wildcrafting. There are look-alike herbs and spices, especially if you're wildcrafting. For instance, my husband and I another couple were out putting up firewood, and it was the season of the wild garlic. Well, there was a look-alike wild garlic. It looks like wild garlic, but it isn't, and but it's lethal. and you eat that and you're dead. And so our friend was just putting it in his mouth and just eating this. And fortunately, it was the wild garlic, but I was really scared because what you should have done in as far as the instance of the wild garlic is to snip it or break it and smell it. And if it smells like garlic, then it is the true garlic, not the mock lethal garlic. Anyway, I digress. Wildcraft at the right time and the right season. So, like bearberries, you want to do in, or kinnikinnick, you might know it by, you want to do that in the fall because that is when more of the essential oils are in the leaves. Sometimes you want to do, like I do my borage flowers and I make a beautiful syrup that chases away the blues. And they're these beautiful, I'm out there about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning picking these beautiful star-like sapphire flowers. But you want the dew off of them. So you want the sun up for a while, get rid of the dew, and then you can pick them and go about your business. Simple remedies, more is not always better. Always know your dosage amounts, make as recommended and take as recommended, and monitor the progress. And if you do not improve, stop. That is the best advice. Seek professional advice if you have any doubts about anything. But quite frankly, if you ask your physician about any herb or spice or natural healing, they're not probably going to know. That's why that physician's desk reference is so important. This is a professional medical book, reference book, and many of your natural doctors will have that book, but you'll be one step ahead of the game. You can purchase it for about $20. Uh, let's see, consider or seek professional advice. Consider the whole person, which means, yes, it might be a sprained finger, but maybe it's something more. And so just be looking from the head to the very foot to see if there might be something else that is triggered this affliction, and know what you are taking and when you took it. So, I basically take any supplements like in morning and in the evening. Sometimes with the herbals, you take it in the midday too. So you just have to remember when you took it, especially if that way you don't run into an overdosage or toxic type situation. So you want to rediscover your herbs. Folk remedies. That's another one of my favorites. I'm kind of sounding like my David, who always said anything that came out of the oven was his favorite. So folk medicine is your traditional belief and practices and materials that you and your family have used to maintain health and cope with disease outside of professional help. And most of these have been handed down to you culturally from generation to generation. The first step is to realize that through manipulation and incrementalization, you have been conditioned to become increasingly dependent on a system outside yourself and your culture. Technology versus the miraculous, physicians versus the spiritual and natural healing, prescription drugs versus herbalism and alternative healing, stored preparations versus fresh grown or wildcrafted remedies. If you can eat something fresh, it's always best. Drugs never cure, but mask symptoms for maximum profit. And soon you will be able to afford medical care and learn. So soon you're not, sorry about that. Soon you're not going to be able to afford medical care. So it's time to start learning what some of these natural alternatives are. Most of you have lost the skill on how your body works. You are very complex. As the Bible says, you were uniquely created in your mother's womb. So To heal, you must consider your personality, your lifestyle, your emotions, your spirituality, and the physical body. And you need to understand how various different situations and different treatments and various substances work in your body. For instance, that garlic that I told you about that works for my sister as far as an antibiotic, but doesn't really work for me. So, once again, you want to discover these old, historically um, very effective folk remedies. So, what are some of the things with home remedies that you want to think about? You want to listen to your body. David was always saying, "Oh, you really know your body." So you have to listen. If things get worse or things get better, you want to make a mental note of it, or if you can't make a mental note of it, you want to jot it down in a journal or whatever. You want information that's handed down generation to generation. And today you can buy books. And when illness strikes, try it treating yourself first. Um, and that would be spiritually first, and then going to herbs or essential oils or whichever one modality you want to experiment with. And then seek the advice of those more experienced. So I had a friend call me up one day. Her mother was like 93 years old and she had had a stroke. And I said, "Do you have cinnamon?" She didn't have any cinnamon. And so I went over and took her some cinnamon. When I got there, she was conscious, but she was dead weight. And I put cinnamon under her tongue. And we carried her into her bed and made her very comfortable. And then um, I had some things that I had to do. I was a soap maker back in those days. And so basically, she calls me an hour later and she goes, "You'll never guess what my mother is doing." And I said, "I don't have a clue what your mom's doing." And she said, "She's up cleaning her purse." I said, "Just keep up giving her the cinnamon twice a day." And she did that for some time. And then when she stopped, her mother did pass away, but she was ready to go home. Um, so that is an example of seeking advice from someone experienced. And if that fails, seek a healer, and then you work down the line. So in folk remedies, prevention is key. You want to eat healthy, eat your medicine, and you can do it. Like this afternoon, I am going to have hearty tomato cabbage soup, and it's going to do a lot of healing for me. It's going to fight inflammation, it's going to burn fat. It's very delicious, it's very satisfying. It's unlike just regular tomato soup, which you can be hungry 2 hours later. It really sticks, as they say, to your bones. So that's a case of eating my medicine. I will be nourishing my body, and it will be good for me, and I will avoid the junk food um, situation. There's exercise, avoiding toxins in the food, air, and water. That's like almost impossible these days, but do the best that you can. And pray or meditate, that is always a good practice for for all of these healing modalities. Discover the benefits of plants, avoid stress, and avoid, I'm not going to say it because you know why. Okay, folk remedies. Take it slow but sure. It took time to get sick and it takes time to heal. So just realize that, so I put on a little bit of weight with my 6 month speaking tour, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to get that weight off. And I just have to be patient with myself and my body. I can't accomplish it in a day or a week, or really, quite frankly, even a month with the significant amount of weight that I gained. But you can do it. I can do it. Anyone can benefit, and any disorder you have can be treated with a folk remedy. You start there. And like I said, then you work up, but at least you start. Uh, Herbals can be strong medicine and they can be toxic. There are many plants out there that you could take a tiny bit, like I've got one seed um, that looks like well, I'm not even going to say one little seed. And if you took two seeds, you could have some serious issues. So you do want to be careful that more is not always better. And the fresher that the herb or the spice or the remedy is, the better it is, except in this realm anyway. So now let's go on to homeopathic. I was trained as in nursing in allopathic medicine, and I was sold out. I was approached for to try homeopathic remedies, and I just dismissed them as quackery. So in 2002, I got sick, and traditional allopathic medicine wrote me off. And at that point, I was desperate to live. My organs had started to shut down. And so I tried anything and everything. And well, not everything, but among the things that I tried was homeopathy. And I was amazed how effective it really is. So, homeopathy works by treating the whole person, the mind, and the body, like we've been talking about holistically. And it is based on the principle that like cures like. The treatment is similar to the substance to the illness helped. So Hippocrates, the father of medicine, understood this principle, and homeopathy is about 200 years old with startling successes, including the 1918 flu. Homeopathy is based upon your body's reaction to disease is as important as the diagnosis and the cure. And homeopathic remedies are made from animal, vegetable, or mineral sources, and some of the material might even be considered poisonous. But it's in such a degree, I'll get into it, so don't worry about that it says poisonous. Remedies are stored once again in dark jars, cool and glass, and the shelf life is unlimited. So basically, homeopathy works on the principle of stimulating your body's defensive mechanism by treating with minute dose of a substance that produces similar symptoms as the illness. Sounds odd, but it works. Hence the name homeo, like, and pathos, suffering, like the suffering. The homeopathic remedy might be considered toxic, but used in such a minute amount, it is actually considered a cure. By diluting the substances, knowing as it's actually percussed, not succussed, vibration or energy. So you're using such a minute form, and then there's a series of percussions where it is the only thing that's really left is the imprint of the um, vibration or the energy. Then making remedies is a precise science, and how it works is still a mystery, but it does imprint. And remedies are a dilution put into a little sugar pill. They're about the size of those sprinkles that go on sugar cookies, I guess, or smaller. They're really tiny. And it's really, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Um, so Tara Lila Rose recommends the book Oils Made Simple by David Stewart. Yes, I love David Stewart. I have several of his books. He is the best on the subject, and I agree with that. Okay, let's see. Homeopathy is safe for everyone, including pregnant women and babies. And a remedy starts healing from the top of your body and works downward. This is different than other modalities, so just know that. So if you got that migraine, you want a modality that starts up here with your head. It starts to work within the body and then it works outward from the major to the minor organs. And then symptoms clear up in reverse order in the manner of their appearance. And use 6C for chronic conditions and 30C for acute illnesses. What is an acute illness? That is something like you get this fever all of a sudden, or something that you don't have all the time. A chronic illness is something like arthritis that you have all the time. Overdose is not a problem with homeopathic remedies. Although you really, I mean, once I took like a 200C of something and it didn't, just didn't agree with me. So I listened to my body and I said, this is too much for me. So take only one remedy at a time. Now, there are blends of remedies and you can take that according. But if you've got individual homeopathic remedies, you want to just use one at a time. And do not touch the remedies. Empty them into a spoon and then place them under your tongue. And put it in a clean mouth. So if you haven't brushed your teeth yet, or for a while, or you got that morning mouth, you might want to brush your teeth and your tongue first, and then make sure that you take it at least 30 minutes before meals or after meals. Avoid alcoholic beverages, smoking, coffee, spicy foods while taking the remedies, or at least take them 2 hours after, and store them in a cool, dark place. And remedies can treat both the physical, the emotional, and the mental. So if you go pick up homeopathic remedies, are really very reasonable. You can get them at many health food stores, some pharmacies, and they are about, I'm dating myself. They used to be about $8 to $10 for like a little vial of about 100. Like I said, they'll last a lifetime, but the price may have gone up in these days of the whole supply chain thing. So I'm not sure what they are now. Okay, I'm just going to say Gaia, Gaia remedies. These are do come from the Hindu Buddhist countries, and many people like it. I do. I'm not opposed to this type of modality. It's just I like to do local. But let's dig in and find out a little bit about it anyway, so you know what it's about. So also is a holistic medicine that includes the body, the mind, the body, and the spirit. And it is a traditional system of medicine practiced in India. And what the word means is science or wisdom of life. And it includes medicine, philosophy, science, spirituality, astrology, astronomy, and focuses on the teachings of Buddha. It has been practiced for 3,000 years, making it probably around complementary with Chinese medicine. And the foundation is on universal energy, or prana, the universe, the world, environment, circumstances, diet, lifestyle, and all based on energy. Energy can be positive or negative, and that can control our cells and how they work. It depends on a qualified diagnosis by a professional. So, this is something that you do want to go to a specialist to get a little bit of an idea where you're going with it. One reference I could give you online is Green Med Info. Um, they cover, it's a database with a lot of different studies, and they go into a lot of the, I just can't say that word. Sorry. So it's based on an eightfold path: the right understanding, the right concentration, the right livelihood, the right mindfulness, the right action, the right thought, the right effort, and the right speaking. It believes that disease is caused by external forces, including planetary acts of gods, that's little g, fire and accidents, harmful gases, poisons, toxins, and evil spirits. And it believes you do not need to understand their philosophy, but just have an open mind that you want to be healed. And this is where I have a problem with this particular one because I have a biblical worldview. And so I don't want to have an open mind to other types of like astrology and gods and different things. So it's just my personal. The three, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. There's the three doshas. There's the Vata is a driving force, mainly related to the nervous system and the body energy. Pitta, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, is fire and relates to metabolism, digestion, enzymes, acid, and bile, which kind of makes sense. Kapha is related to water with and the mucines, phlegm, moisture, fat, and the lymphatic system. Makes sense. One must be in balance with the three doshas, including diet, spiritual elimination, spiritual and emotional health. Good health requires balance, such as you have to offset heat with cold and wet with dry. It focuses on proper waste elimination and the balance of the seven tissues. And I have to wonder if all of a sudden you're just seeing this whole UN global focus on waste and elimination. And I'm wondering, since we know about Gaia, if that's why there is such a focus on elimination and waste. Anyway, then we go down to the seven tissues or doshas, which is plasma, blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, and nerves, reproductive tissues. It can treat almost most common illnesses and diseases. It can help detoxify you. They use it in conjunction with herbs and minerals, prayer and breathing, and also psychotherapy. Now, one of my favorites, which I have no problem using, are flower essences. Flower essences or floral remedies are used to harmonize the body, mind, and spirit. The essences of flowers are said to contain the life force of the flowers used to make them. Flower essences vibrationally on the mental and emotional and they level those out and they negate negative feelings and encourage the healing process um, and balance body energy. I'm gonna have to make this a little bit larger, maybe, or maybe not. Okay, we're not going to be able to do that. Okay, I will do my best without squinting. Floral essences are perfect for home use and are easy to make. Essences are created by collecting uh, morning after the morning dew from rose or flower petals, and then the flower. Then you put them in water, or you put them in like a sterile water, or preserve them in alcohol, and it is said to imbue healing properties. Flower essences work by stimulating your immune system, and using floral essences and they believe that they work because they impart this energy from the plant imprint from which it was made. Floral essences were created by Dr. Bach around World War One, and floral essences are known as the Bach flower remedies. And if you don't want to go out and pick flowers, you've got to know it's a wonderful experience. You're listening to the birds, you're feeling the wind kissing your cheeks, you're enjoying the sunshine, or maybe a little bit of raindrops. Um, but you can buy them in the store, but you're missing out on the whole rest of the well being that is part of the floral essence experience. But I digress once again. So the essences address once again emotional self and unlocking repression. It liberates you from negativity and encourages this sense of well being. There are 35 essences that address negative emotions. and impart peace, joy, and hope and love. Notice floral essences can help you. They've helped me. And preventative remedy when you are kind of out of balance, nothing big, you're just out of balance, out of whack. During times of crisis, treat the emotional outlook produced by illness. For instance, if you got a long illness is dragging out and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm never going to get over this, it kind of turns it around, it reverses it. It can address reoccurring emotions or behaviors. Let's say you get the blues in the winter, cabin fever as it's called. It can help that. That's why I use the borage. And strength during emotional setbacks. So floral essences work quickly. Remedies last about 1 week. They are not addictive or dangerous. They are ideal for women, children, plants, animals, and I said plants again. Mix up to 6 florals per essence, so you can do blends on this. And successful treatment depends upon accurate diagnosis. Not always, I would say. If you're listening to your body, you can diagnose what you need. Sometimes you might ask your spouse or family member, what are you seeing in me? Because sometimes if we're going through a hard time, we may not recognize what we're going through. Evaluate the person or animal to be treated. Ask yourself questions and be real about your feelings. You don't want to say, I'm not depressed when you're in a full, you're depressed, So you've got to be real and answer these questions, when you do this evaluation. If a person is alcohol intolerant or an alcoholic, you can put drops into boiling water, let it cool, and the alcohol will evaporate. Making successful floral remedies depends on the correct floral identification. You want to make sure, as I gave the illustration about the wild garlic and the lethal garlic, you want to make sure that your flowers are the same because there are poisonous flowers out there. Correct preparation and touch very little because this is also imprinting and about energy. So you don't want your fingerprints all over it because then you're just going to get your own fingerprint, which might need a little boost from the energy of the flower. You want to correct. I already did that one. Collect on the right day, and picked between 9 and noon because that's when the dew is off for in most places. Um, on that day, you want to make it so you don't want to pick your flowers one day and expect them to be fresh and do your preparation for the floral essence the next day because flowers just plain don't last that long. And you do want to properly label. That includes the name of the flower and the strength. Is this what is in this essence, the ingredients, and I would date it as well. You will need amber bottles with a dropper. You can buy these in bulk, glass bowls, a brandy. If you want to do brandy, any liquor will do, actually. You can do glycerin, but glycerin does not have a long shelf life. It's limited to about 6 months. Um, you want a saucepan and pure water. So, floral essences are a delightful way to complement some of these other modalities, and you don't have to worry about them bumping or having a synergistic effect. Vitamins, minerals, and nutrition. I'm big on this. Big, big. You need to understand the role of vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, compounds, and elements and their role in your body. You need to have a cursory understanding of that. Let me know in the comments below if you are interested in a vitamin class. I know we are going to do a supplement additive class, But if you want to know on this specific, the role of vitamins and minerals and micronutrients, um, see, let me know. And then I might consider doing a webinar on it. Amino acids, fibers, enzymes, and lipids are critical to life. These are the natural ones, not the synthetic ones. And manipulating nutrition can ensure good health and address illness and prevent illness and the degenerating effects of aging. And supplementation and healthy diet in, not in just nourishes your body. Sorry, I guess I need, this is actually nutrition, so I'm going to take a sip here. I guess getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning wasn't good enough for me. I'm still struggling. Vitamins are organic nutrients essential to regulate the chemical processes that go on in your body. And there are vitamins in your food. And minerals are inorganic elements which are necessary for biochemical and physiological processes. And 100 milligrams or more is called a mineral, and less than 100 milligrams is called a trace mineral. And I'm going to refer to what I referred to last week, and just to remind you that when you cook, bake, or fry your food, um, the minerals will stay in whatever you're making, but the vitamins will be destroyed by the heat process. The degree of vitamin loss will depend on how long, like, are you just quickly searing something or quickly sauteing it? That's why a lot of people do stir fry. It's just a quick stir. So in that case, you still have some vitamins, but it's an unknown quantity. You don't know how many, but your minerals will be there. And this is important for all you canners out there. So when you can, you're going to lose your vitamin content, but your minerals will stay there. So if you're a prepper, you want to prep vitamins to supplement your canning if you're dehydrating or you're canning. So amino acid is any compound that contains an amino acid chain in acidic function. There's 20 amino acids are the building blocks of life. They're considered proteins involved in the biological processes and neurotransmission. Realize that today we have synthetic amino acids, and they are replacing our original 20 amino acids. But I will go through that in my synthetic biology webinar. So lipids, and most of you are familiar what a lipid is. Yes, there are natural ones, but there is a synthetic ones such as hydrogel. But lipid in the old days meant just healthy fats. These fats unclog arteries, retard aging, discourage heart disease, and cholesterol. So supplements do not take the place of food. So don't think you can just put a pill or a vitamin and that you're going to have all of your nutrition, because there's things that aren't in that particular vitamin, even if you did an all purpose vitamin, such as fiber. And you need all these types of things when you're eating the actual food or the plant. You're getting much more than a very limited amount that they put in a vitamin. People who smoke or drink are going to need additional supplementation. The best time to take supplements is on a full stomach, and that's just in case you find that one of the ingredients upsets your stomach a little bit. You might even get a little bit of allergy. That's what I've been noticing lately. Time release formulas need food to slowly release, and take supplements evenly throughout the day. I find that I can never, if this is 3 times a day, forget it. I take mine in the morning and then the evening, and that's the best I can do. Otherwise, I'm off to the races. Children need a lower dose of supplementation than adults, and supplement changes during pregnancy. So you don't want any vitamin A, and there's other ones you can't take during pregnancy. So make sure you read your label. And if you do not respond to your personal supplementation, consider consultation with a nutritionist or a physician. Although most physicians don't know a lot, you can get somebody that's in alternative or integrative or functional medicine that will have an idea how nutrition plays a factor in your health. So, vitamins and minerals come in various forms depending on what your capacity to tolerate is. So, they can come in powders. When I had when I was sick, I went to liquid. This is a vitamin, and that was very good because if your gut's really upset, you're not going to be able to digest those gel caps. Sorry, doesn't happen. So if you've got a problem with your microbiome, your gut, your stomach, you might want to look into the powder supplementation. There are the capsules, which are the little gel caps. There's liquids and there are tablets. Sometimes there's those horse pills, and you might have to break them up to get them down your throat, especially as you get older. It gets harder to do those giant horse pills, you know? So there's bioavailable supplements that are the most body friendly, and antioxidants go in and go after the free radicals that can cause damage and illness. And so, vitamins and minerals and antioxidants are always a good choice. Um, Before I go on to the next slide, I'm just going to say, like in vitamin E, which will scavenge your body for all those free radicals, you want a well balanced. If it just has one type of vitamin E, it's not nearly as effective as if you get one that maybe has 5 different forms of vitamin E. And in that way, you're also protecting against cosmic rays, 5G, and God forbid, a nuclear disaster. Chinese medicine. So, Chinese medicine is probably the most ancient medicine. It includes acupuncture, herbal medicine. It is based on the philosophy of in harmony and out of harmony. See, most of these have to do with frequency. Chinese medicine tries to restore balance in an ill person and release blocked energy. They also do it with foot. I can't think of. I can't think of the. Um, there's pressure points on your foot that release the energy, um, but I can't think of what it is right now. Chinese medicine classifies disease by being caused by the wind, heat, dampness, or cold. And Chinese medicine takes into consideration the physiological and psychological symptoms. And it is based on the philosophy of the yin and the yang, dual forces between nature and the human being. And the yin is more prevalent at night. And Chinese medicine also believed that every living thing being sustained by the life force called qi. They believe qi comes from the influences from heaven and earth. And if you have an element of divine, which separates us from the animals, people are both with a certain amount of qi. We can deplete qi, but or, yeah, we can deplete qi, but we cannot add to it. Qi permeates the entire body, and the belief is that qi is stored in the kidneys. Chi is based on the body matrix or grid with meridians and organs that provide an energy pathway. And there are 12 meridians. There's the heart, the kidneys, the liver, the stomach, the spleen, the lungs, the intestine, the vessels, the bladder, the pericardium, and the gallbladder. And chi is based upon symptoms and treatments um, of Chinese herbal medicine include decoctations, powders, tinctures, pills and capsules, syrups, plasters, and pressures. And the plants used can be leaf, flower, fruit, bark, um, root. I put mineral in there. They can use minerals as well. The taste of an herb determines the taste of the herb determines the taste of the herb. I'm not sure what I was talking about there. Uh, those using Chinese medicine need to be careful when pregnant, be careful in using with children or people with liver or kidney problems. And if you have a reaction to any of the treatments, please stop. Um, and for instance, I had a Chinese teacher stay with me for a year, and he wanted to give me some Chinese thing for something. I don't even remember what it was. And I was hesitant because the package was all in Chinese. And what if I reacted to it? I went, those would be the days that I would go to an ER, which I wouldn't do right now. But what would I do? Just hand them this package in Chinese, and they wouldn't know what I had taken. So I, I don't do too much of that. A little bit, but not too much. Foods and spices, I love this. So plan an intelligent diet. So grow your own homegrown organic heirloom foods with no additives. So eliminate all processed foods, eliminate all GMOs and synthetic biology now. Limit the sugar of wheat. Really take a look at that. Does your body tolerate it or doesn't it? Use grass fed organic animals, preferably not, you know what the word is. Drink raw milk and avoid the new milk adulterants because they have drugs, hormones, aspartame, GMO, and more. And now they have whole classes of synthetic milk. It will say dairy on it, and it's not even milk. So watch out for that. Eat fermented foods. They really heal your gut, providing you with good health. I love to make fermented vegetables. You can make them in 2 to 4 days, any vegetable that you like, and you can make it any sourness. Let's say you just want a little bit of sour or you want a lot. Now, a lot is going to really help your gut issues if you have any. And this will, by healing your gut, that's going to heal your health and it will heal your microbiome, which is under assault too. All real food has not been over processed, has medicinal qualities. So, like if you cook that spinach to death, it's really not going to have anything except pretty much the minerals left. But if you lightly cook it, it will provide you health. All spices and herbs have medicinal qualities, and food can cure what ails you. Tell you a funny story as I'm winding down here is that what was the first thing? Well, it was the second thing that I did when I saw in 2019 that COVID was going to go around the world. The first thing I knew that protein was under attack. So I started to preserve protein in my household. And the second thing is that for all the spices and herbs that I could not grow, for instance, my cloves, allspice, cinnamon, those types of things, I bought 5 pounds of them and put them in glass jars. So if you've got favorite spices because they are healing, I would urge you to do the same thing because by the end of this whole supply chain, you're not going to have access to something that you can't grow in your yard, and you might not even have access to that. So, what can foods do? So, vegetables can provide you with antioxidants, phytochemicals, those are plant based chemicals. They can be diuretics, so they can take out that edema, swelling in your body. Astringent, they can be antiseptic, they can, so they can clean wounds. um, hepatic, hepata- hepatic toner, mineral restorer, hypolipidemic, anti-cancer, digestive, laxative, and antiemetic. Fruits can stimulate the senses, they can detoxify, they can regulate you, prevent cancer, they're antioxidant, they promote good health, they are energizers, they're fiber, they're organic acids. Nuts can provide calories, fats, protein, provide minerals, vitamins, trace elements, and phytochemicals. Cereals and grains, if you can tolerate them, can provide digestive carbohydrates, fiber, some protein, your vitamin B's, your folate, minerals and trace minerals, phytoelements. They provide satiety. It means that is makes you feel like you're not starving all the time. Reduce cancer risk and prevent diabetes. Legumes provide protein, amino acids, vitamin B's, minerals. They're economical, reduce diabetes, cholesterol, avoid hypertension, combat iron deficiency. Um, it reduces your risk of gallstones and it reduces colon cancer. Olive oil and coconut oil are medicinal. It reduces blood clots, uh, controls cholesterol, reduces blood cancer, protects the liver, promotes regularity. And I just learned this in the past week that olive oil will help you burn fat. Tomatoes will also help you uh, burn fat. And I'm trying to think of the chemical. It starts with a L, but I can't think of it on the cuff here. But tomatoes, I would say your hydroponic ones, no, they have to be growing in the dirt and they should be heirloom. So wild milk, proteins, and fats will provide you with vitamin minerals. Eggs will provide you with protein, fat, sugar, minerals, vitamins, and trace elements. Fish will provide you with fat, salt, minerals, and vitamins. And meat will provide you with proteins, fats, and minerals. So, John, do we have any questions? I'm not seeing my. Well, I guess if we don't have any questions right now, if you do have a question on this presentation, and you are welcome to have a copy of it, you can request a copy, put, let's see, natural healing in the subject line to Celeste at celestialreport.com, and feel free to answer questions below, and I will try and answer those questions as I tiptoe through my synthetic biology um, webinar presentation that I'm getting together. Okay, so there is a question. How long do you think until the supply chains are breaking down? They are already in the process of breaking down. It just depends on what particular thing you're talking about. I mean, we're talking energy, we're talking household products for like building a house or appliances, our food, our supplements. Already, my dog food was just canceled because it's a red meat dog food for Mississippi. I paid like $70 a bag, would last her about a month. Of course, I supplement her with food that I eat, but that was terminated by Amazon. They said no more. And my option was to spend like 20 bucks for 10 ounces. Mississippi, that's an appetizer to Mississippi. So I have not sure what I'm going to do about dog food. So pay attention with dog and cat owners. What are you going to do? Because this is in progress as we speak. Of course, the plant based, the insects, diets, they're the shelves are getting less and less, and you're paying higher and higher prices, especially for those things. If you cling to your steak, or you cling to your natural milk, or you cling to the old historical foods, you're going to be paying premiums, and at some point you're just not going to be able to get them. They want you to pay by the molecule, or the 1/1000th of a calorie. Um, I've already had several of my supplements. They said, like vitamin C, they said, sorry, they're not available. So we're just going to have to go to different vendors and get the stock up while you can. So it is in progress already. Do you know about cell salts? Says Texas Jelly Bean. Yes, back when I had that problem in 2002, I did use cell salts. I haven't used them since because I really haven't had a need. I mean, my cell salts are probably still in my crazy uh, supplement room, which now is a closet. It used to be a full room, so it needs some organizing, which I'm going to do this year. So yes, cell salts are very good, and I would add those as an addition to a treatment modality for you. So with that, I think I'm going to sign off, and we will see you the next time on Healthy Monday. This is Celeste. God bless, and may